Hey YouTube, welcome to another video. Um, Earlier today I've been thinking about the last video that I created last night and all my firewall rules and how I wanted it to work. So when I was researching that, um, I'm looking into it and I don't think the one of the things that I looked into is also the Umada TP-Link cloud account. One thing that I noticed is that I cannot add another layer of authentication like a multi-factor authentication either through another email or through a phone or a text message. So having your system accessible through the cloud with TP-Link Umada cloud, I don't believe it's safe and secure. So what I'm going to right now is I'm going to remove all my devices being enrolled into the cloud and just have it fully accessible locally on my network. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do right now and see how it works. I know I did a lot of configurations on this already, and my idea was like just change the username, change the password later on after this video, and change the IP from class A to class B to have more room for growth instead of creating another VLAN or for the IoT devices. Those were my plans to fully expand the network after the series of videos, but it seems like, again, like I said, this is not really safe. As soon as I read that this morning, as soon as I wake up, I'm like, no, I cannot have my devices fully accessible in from the cloud and have this get compromised. I'm not saying the TP-Link cloud is currently unsecure right now. I just don't think it's secure enough for my devices to be accessible from the cloud. It's going to be really kind of dangerous. I still have, but in order for me to do that, I need to, I guess I'll unadapt and research everything, make sure everything is clear from the cloud. I don't really know how it works, but I'm going to take that precaution just to be sure. Never hurt to be paranoid a little bit when it comes to your devices connected to the cloud. Uh, but I'm thinking I'm still have some minor configurations that I would like to see on my ACL, so I'll try to do that first and see how it works. Last night I was making a lot of mistakes because I was so sleepy. I'm making a permit rule, but I'm actually denying it. So that contributes to a lot of the issues that I cannot fathom last night. So let me see. So one of them I actually created. So to give you an idea, I would like to have my IoT network to be isolated from the rest of the VLAN. So I created a list of networks, basically all the private IP addresses, whether it's a 192.172 or 10.0, it should be non-routable, basically, to or unreachable from the IoT network. So I created a blanket group which is called private IP, and I just blocked it all. I just denied all access from the IoT network going to the private IP. So that's the main idea of why I have this particular rule. But all others will be accepted, but make sure it's a safeguard, it's a safety net, because I'm still experiencing this. I'm still learning how to configure this. I want to make sure I have a safety net, that I always have access to the router and to the controller. So I have these two at the top giving me access to the devices at all times. So let me just look at the port profile and review those. Yeah, this is the profile. Groups. So I had created 1, 2, 3 IP groups underscore any is a default group created by the software. The default one you cannot delete, you cannot do anything, which is pretty cool, but I wish I can make a modification for that one. And the ones that are user created, user generated can be deleted. So let me just look at the controller. It should be okay. So this is one of those one I have added. It's just a single host /32, and the router. This is where I added the additional one because I can't make the IoTs work. I added this one, but it shouldn't need this command. I believe so. So let me just check. Okay. I'm still in the IoT network, and if this one will have me believe I still have access to the internet, and so that 107.42 so 43 is the that's me 43. Okay, I'm still sleepy. That will be 72. Okay, let me just check what's the IP address of my client devices. I'm looking for the IP address of my Raspberry Pi. Well, looks like it's shut down. I powered it off probably last night, so let me power it back on. Again, let me go to the settings. The main idea for this network, at least for the ACL design that I was thinking last night, is to get the IoT network isolated from the rest of the VLANs. They can communicate to each other, gain access to the internet, but they cannot reach other VLANs. So that's why this rule is specifically in here, deny IoT to VLANs. And the second rule is to actually just allow for them to talk to each other. And again, these are the safety net rules. Make sure I can access them. And let's see. My laptop is currently connected to the IoT VLAN. I should be able to connect to CNN.com. CNN.com. I can access it, meaning the change I made to the profile where I removed the inclusion of the IoT gateway 192.168.107.1 didn't really affect this, because in theory this should be that port, that particular IP should be included in this line. I was thinking of that last night. I don't want to make any changes because, like I said, I keep making mistakes. I know what I wanted to do, I know how to do it, but I'm executing it incorrectly. Okay, so the Pi desktop is that 72, and let's check again. So this shows that I have in VLAN, within the VLAN, within the same network, communication between all IoT devices. And I can create SSH. Let's see. Let me remove that for the time being. So cleaning my table for a bit. It's getting cluttered. Shut down. Come on. I'm shutting it down. Just looking for any green activity light. So there's nothing anymore. Okay. So this is my Raspberry Pi. I'm removing it. Okay. So I'm pretty sure I made it work. So the rules were working okay. It's not works. security ACL, and let me disable one of the rule and see how it works. I will have to have, let's do that. Same thing. Again, my laptop is still in the IoT VLAN, so I'll do consistent ping. I'll do this. So I will disable this one and see how it's gonna work. So if I look at this one, permit controller and router to and this is what I need to do. Okay, let's start it again. Yet still working. Okay, so this one is now can be deleted and apply. Let's try that again. I can still access the internet, but I shouldn't be able to ping my controller anymore from this network. 0.1. I cannot because I removed the access already, and let's do it again. Let's see how it should work. If I enable this rule, let's see if I can get access. Oh, because now I don't have access to the controller. I don't have access to basically this particular screen anymore. So let me go to the microcontroller, to the cloud. So this I'm accessing this through what do you call that, through the local IP, but this one I can access to the cloud, so I should still have access to the cloud, as you can see here. And as you can see here, still request timeout. So let me bring that one and enable. So this rule basically says permit, let's see, allow the routers and controllers to reach any IP. That means the IoT VLAN, and let me permit this rule. And there it goes. Okay, let me see if by disabling this, if I cut it off completely. Okay, I'm fine-tuning this. It's more a granular approach and things, and so I don't have a very convoluted set of rules. So from this scenario, I can say that I only needed 3 rules: the one at the top and the 2 at the bottom. Allow router and controller access. So basically, if I look at here, it's a permit, all IPs to the controllers and the routers, basically. And then I don't have to permit my router or controller to this one. So basically the router is only one router, which is the gateway. Don't really have to do that. Again, those are just safety nets to make sure that whatever mistypo or typo config that I made, that I will always have access to the gateway and to the controllers. Okay. Let's still ping it. Okay, let me go enable. No, not enable. This one's already enabled. So let me disable this rule again. This will kill access to the routers. And I should have a request timeout anytime soon. There you go. Okay, so but for, like I said, I need to remove access to what you call that, I need to remove access from the cloud, totally remove everything from the cloud, make sure I don't access it, and let me put everything back. You know what, not necessarily put everything back. So I'll erase this, erase all my rules, because I want to make sure I don't accidentally left out any devices to be scrubbed off from the cloud. ACL gateway, and I'm going to relocate connectivity of my laptop from the switch, from the backbone switch, no, from the edge switch to my OC-300 while I'm trying to remove everything from the cloud. Make sure I'm always connected to the OC-300 while I'm performing that operation. Okay, so how to do that, how to go about that, still thinking. Let me do a consistent ping so that you guys can see what I'm doing. Ping 19, no, not 192, ping, go to that. Strike Y. Let's see that one. Okay. Go off. Okay. Seems about right. Okay. Let me go to my, this one I'm on the hardware controller itself. So let me go configure all my ports back to default. So the way I think I should do that is I should go here, LAN, and I should do the profile. And the only reason why I'm almost 100% sure that deleting this will work is that, like I said, I have factory reset all my devices in the past, and everything works right out of the box, and all the native VLANs work, and it propagates through the network without me configuring or even adapting any of these devices. So I think that's something that I can try. But for the time being, let me see all the switch settings. Let me make sure all the port profiles are in default, so I don't get confused. So the reason why I'm doing this is I'm not sure what's going to happen if I suddenly remove this from the cloud and forget it. I'm thinking it will retain all these configurations, or if it's something like a unified, it will erase all configurations, but I'm not sure, so I don't want to find out the hard way. So while I still have full control and visibility of everything here, I want to make sure I can verify everything before I set everything back to default, or at least remove it from the database of the Omada controller. So the backbone switch, it didn't have any special configurations in here. All ports, yeah, all ports are in all profiles, all the uplink. I haven't made any special configuration. I haven't gotten into that part of the video yet, or configuration yet. So for the devices, I'm going to start removing them one by one. Okay, so the wall AP. Okay, so let me start removing my wireless configurations as well. Yeah, I don't want to get stuck with any wireless configuration that I don't want or I don't need. Let me delete my family Wi-Fi, delete my guest Wi-Fi. I never got into the guest configuration this video, so in the future I will try to, and I'll do that without the cloud controller. So my wireless network is now pretty much done. Do that LAN, so I'll erase my family VLAN. Again, I'm just deleting all those configurations that I'm not sure it's gonna linger or gonna stay once I have removed all these devices from the cloud. Okay, so this one. So I only have the default, which the only thing I can do is management plan and update. Okay, that looks about right. It's almost there. Let me check the internet, see if I made any special configurations here. SFP1, I have the primary, I have this, and link backup, it's primary. This shouldn't make much of a difference whether it's link. The default is the link backup, meaning if one connection is down, it goes to the other, but stays there until that it goes down and it flip flops. I think that's how it works. Yes, that's how it works. I just look at the tooltip, good tooltip, and optimize routing. Yeah, just to prevent your bank from complaining if your source IP address keeps changing while accessing the bank during its session. Okay, backup link when any primary one fails. Yes, so this shouldn't make any any sort of issues. Again, I'm just checking and everything. So let me start removing my devices now. So how do I remove this? Where is this the boot? Is this locate? I'll start with the outside most going inward. So I config services maybe advanced. All those are some interesting settings. Okay. If you no longer wish to manage the device, you may remove it. Note that all configuration and history with respect to the device will be wiped out. Oh, okay, so all configurations will be wiped out anyway. It's like factory resetting these devices. So let me do a forget. So I'm forgetting the AP now. Now I'm moving to the PoE, and again the main reason is because I know how it's connected. My router is connected to the backbone is connected to the edge, and edge is connected to the access point. If I remove the backbone, I will lose connectivity to this one and this one, so I don't want to do that. So I'm removing them one by one from the outside in. I think that's how you say that. Okay, so now I'm removing the edge, which is my PoE switch. Config, go to the manage devices and then forget. Okay, forget. I can hear it. Yep, and as you can see, all the lights went out. I'm not sure if you can see. All the lights went out. It rebooted. Now I'm going to the backbone switch. Go to config. And go to manage device. Click forget. And I think all the lights went out as well. And let me go to the router. Do I have config in here? Yes, I have config. Manage device. Forget. Okay, let's see if I can see anything on the computer. can still see my controller here. How do I put this one page? Okay, so I lost connection. Everything should be rebooting, but I should still have access here to my I cannot. I should, because I'm directly connected to the controller and it's in the same IP. I'm thinking it should just go directly to it rather than go into the router and go into the device. Yes, it should if it has an internal backplane connectivity. Dashboard. Click it. Yes, it's still working while the router is still rebooting. Okay. But I can't do anything else, and I don't have internet access because the router has rebooted. Most of the devices has booted as well. The edge switch has rebooted, the access point has rebooted, and I'm thinking it's gonna start showing up on my list of devices as something that I can adopt. I think that's how it should work. I don't know. Okay, so let's go APs. Nothing still showing up. Dashboard. Don't have anything. I have one location. Let's see if I can access the Omada controller from the cloud. The controller is offline. Yeah, okay. So on the cloud it's offline. It's not offline anymore. Okay. So let me do this here, controller. So I'm trying to remove my controller from the cloud. So it says offline. Okay. Interesting. So my it didn't say any blinking in here on my controller, so maybe that's the reason why it says it's offline. But trying to find how I can remove my controller action. There's no action that I can do here. So how do I remove the controller? Oh, forget. Okay, so I can now forget this one. So okay, so now I don't have anything on my account on my cloud, TP-Link cloud. I'm so happy right now. I shouldn't be, but I'm happy because, like I said, there's no two-factor authentication security for the cloud access. That means if anyone can access, my TP-Link cloud, they can do, bad stuff on my network. So for that reason, I don't recommend the TP-Link cloud access configuration. I would say just access your devices locally to its IP address, like the way I have it right here. Now thinking about it, maybe I shouldn't have removed it from the cloud in the first place. I mean, everything that I have, I shouldn't have removed it, because if I can just forget it from the controller, I can just maintain access to it locally. But I don't know how it's gonna work if I forget, whether it's going to erase everything on my controller as well. From what I read, every time you forget a device, it wipes out its configuration. So I'm not sure. Maybe in this particular case, TP-Link thinks, hey, not everyone wants to access their cloud, their OC, network control SDN or mother controller to the cloud, and if they erase it, they should retain the configurations or backup. But I don't know, I can't know anymore. I already erased it. But so let me refresh the screen. Everything should be NA now, as I don't have any more devices in here. Still have the site home net. I still see it here, but the internet, the gateway, it switches 0, EP600 client, 0 guests. On my controller, on my local, as you can see here on my IP, still maintain access to it. Okay, some go to devices, and there you go. Yeah, I can adapt them all over again. Oh well, I guess I could have just wiped out and, oh, I'm not wiped out. I could have just removed, forget my controller from the cloud and be done with it and still maintain my configuration. Now I have to redo everything that I did for the past several days, and yeah. Okay, that's it for this video. I hope you learned from my mistakes. I hope you learned from my learnings, and if you have any tips, if you know anything that could have made this video much better, or the way I access or configure things, do let me know in the comments and feedbacks. I really appreciate it. Thank you.